Everybody, how you doing? How you doing today? This is Bryce from Victims of Victors, where we tell our story, how we overcame the storms, troubles, and tribulations in our lives. So we can tell y'all that you are not alone, and you can too overcome anything that you're going through. It's not something that you need to stick into for the rest of your life. I promise you that one. Today, we got, I have a couple, military people on this channel, so we got another brother from the military. Why? Because when you go in the military, there's a structure that you must adhere to, but then in your civilian life, when you take that uniform off, there's still stuff that you got to deal with in your head. And I feel that people that are in the military, they deal with it literally on the extreme. They see the extremes of life, and they still have to, in some form or fashion, get back to normal. And so today, we got a brother today that retired at the military, had a lot of opportunities to lead men and women through the process of military and growing as individuals. So this brother is an author, is a coach of a professional speaker. He loves to give back to the community. And today, Sir Sylvester, how you doing today, man?
I'm awesome, man. I'm just honored to be on your platform, man, and given the privilege to have this conversation with you today.
Most definitely, man. It was my pleasure. It's my pleasure, man. So, man, I like to start up, man. Where you from, man? We born and raised at?
So I'm born and raised in Columbus, Georgia, man. Low income, single parent home, gang and drug infested neighborhood, man, where a young black man was only expected to do like three things, and that's die, go to jail, and make it out on pure luck.
But I got to ask. Really got to ask about that because, again, I'm from Canada. And we have different systems, right? So we got the low-income families. So we call it Toronto housing or whatever city you're in. It's called that housing, right? So Brampton housing, whatever it is. You guys got a thing called Section 8, which is across the board. It's the same thing, right? The government supports it, right?
Right.
Here, like I live in a middle-class neighborhood now. And just across the street, it's a street, like probably like 60 homes that is lower income, but then everybody around it is up like middle class, right? So the children don't really see a difference, right? Like everybody is the same, if you will. But when I've watched stories, biographies, documentaries of the States, it's not like that. It's if you're poor, you're poor and you know it. If you're middle class, you middle class. If you're upper, you're upper. And it's like, how is that when you just see poverty? Like, that's what you see. How, like, what is that in the mindset? Like, I can't get it. Like, I was poor. I understand struggle. I have days without food, but I still see an opportunity, right? So how is that
Right.
seeing just the hood? That's all you saw. Well, how was that like?
Yeah, so it was more like just survival, man. Like anytime that the animal, you think about like the lion, man, like anytime he wakes up in the morning, the first thing he thinking about is like where his next meal is coming from.
That's right.
He ain't thinking about like thinking about being anything else other than living for the next day. So I think, in comparison to that, man, like that's how it is surviving in like lower income, in a low income area, man. Like all you're thinking about is survival, man. How can I get my next meal? Where can I get my next, where can I achieve my next goal as far as looking fresh or whatever it might be that you're looking for at that time frame, man. You're just looking at the right now. You're not looking at the future.
Man, that's I want to come back to that because I got something to say about that because in some ways I think it's a positive thing, it's in a way because if that's how you think, I'm going to get my next. I'm going to get my next. I'm going to
right.
That mentality. And you see when people get out the hood, like they crush it. So we'll
right.
get back to that. Absolutely. But just in the back there, I see you got Kobe over there, and then I can't see at the top there. Who do you got on the other side there?
Oh, so I got Mike Vick, and then I also got right above him I got Mike Tyson, man.
Okay, so what are those three individuals? What do they mean to you? Why would you put them on your wall? Why would you have them around you?
So all these gentlemen that you see behind me, man, are legendary in my mind, man, just due to the fact that they all bounce back from adversity. So Michael Vick had his situation that he experienced dealing with the dog incident.
Yeah.
But he came back and then he dominated the game, man. Whenever he got his opportunity to shine, he didn't take it for granted. He realized what he was going through, made him better than where he was at. And then you look at Mike Tyson, he dealt with his situation as well. He's still dealing with certain demons that he's dealing with right now, but at the same time, he's not letting them overcome him when it comes down to spreading his message and who he is. And then we all know about the legendary Kobe Bryant, man.
Definitely.
Like that goes without saying, man. Like, he when he initially got in the league, he had his situation, man, dealing with that rape incident. But then at the same time, he didn't let him define him as who he were as a man, as a father, husband, and whatever else he went through. Then he also had his little situation, man, with his spouse. So I think all these phenomenal men behind me, man, like they faced adversity at a whole deeper scale just due to the fact that they didn't let it define who they were and let it dictate their future. Exactly. They started out in a certain path, but they didn't let it stop them from achieving greatness.
That's amazing, man. I think we could all look at our lives and be like, dang, I don't want to be here, but not let it stop you. I think that's important.
Right. Absolutely.
And you're now, as a grown man, a whole grown ass man, looking up to individuals. When you were younger, did you have the same mindset, looking up to these positive individuals, or were you more looking up to dudes in the street? As where are you from?
So I never really had a positive, mature adult male figure in my life. The closest thing I had to a superhero, man, that I say all the time, man, I still recognize him to this day, is my older brother, man. Mm-hmm. Like, he was out there in the streets still, doing his thing, man. I ain't gonna go too far in depth when it come down to everything that he was doing. But this is who I looked up to, because I knew he loved me, he cared about me, he showed that affection, man. He showed that tough love. And then at the same time, he had to become a man before he was at the age of a man. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said before, I grew up in a single parent home for a long period of time in my life. And this was the closest thing I had to a father figure during that time span. But he overcome obstacles in many ways, man. I can go into a laundry list of things that I seen my brother achieve, man, as far as changing his life. And that just propelled me to escalate in the further scale, man, when it comes down to what I'm doing now.
Wow. See, and it's such an important thing when you are in an environment to find somebody.
Right.
Somebody, if it's your mom, your auntie, your uncle, somebody that you can say, all right, there's something positive. Because if you're, like you said, if you're living in an environment that's fairly negative all the time, it can get at you. It can really wear on you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
So when did you, let's get to high school. So like in high school, me and you sitting beside each other, grade 10. What would that be like? Because for me, we have a term up here called a gallus. There's a dude that talks to girls. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I was a wrestler and I was a gallus. That's it. That's all I cared about. So I don't know. How about you?
So for me, man, like I say when I was in school, man, I was a expiring drug dealer, a gang member, and an occasional thief. I never really was like a real social person on the aspect of what you're saying, dealing with like girls or anything. I just figured, they would come just due to the fact of what I had going on and what I was doing. But I was only going by what I seen in the streets. I wasn't going by what I had as far as like, hey, somebody reeling me in and say, hey, this is how you talk to girls, or this is what you should do whenever you approach a girl, none of that stuff, man. But yeah, man, so me in the 10th grade, man, I was doing other things outside of just, focusing on certain areas that I should have been focusing on in school.
Definitely. So if it was me and you in classroom, it would be me and the desk beside me because you wouldn't be there.
Nah, man, I'll probably be high. Yeah, I'll probably be high, man, almost sleep, man, just it'll sound like a Charlie Brown, man, like, how the teacher was always, yeah, that's how it'd be in there, man.
Yes.
I'm being serious.
Oh, man, that got it. So in school, I was like, what was your favorite subject, but what was the best class to sleep in?
Man, English. English class,
English.
because she didn't bother me.
Yeah.
She didn't bother me, man. She just let me slide through, man. I got a story about that to this day, man. And she really told me about myself, man, that
Really?
it stuck with me to this day, man. And it was my senior year. And whenever we was taking like the final exam or whatever, dealing with that class, we took the test and she called everybody out individually into the hallway to give them their grades, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So she called my name, man, and then my heart, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, snap. Oh, snap.
It's that time.
Yeah. My palm started sweating. I get up and then I go outside in the hallway, man. And then she was like, Sylvester, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, you failed the test. You know, I don't think you got what it takes. And she told me I wasn't college material, man. She told me flat out I wasn't college material. So, you know, me just listening to what she said, man, and then the way everything was going for me, I was like, man, you know, bump it. You know, this is what it is.
Facts. Like no college, but I'm making dollars. So
yeah, I was like, this is what it is, man. Like, I never had no intentions of going to school. The only reason I joined the military, man, was due to job security and many other family members that served.
Really?
That was the only reason, man, because, you know, if you live in an environment, man, where there really is no other way, you feel as though there's no other way out.
Yep.
And then somebody tell you, hey, you get guaranteed to get paid on the 1st and 15th. We give you a roof on your head and 3 meals a day. You be like, man, that's lit.
That's better than I'm doing right now. I like it.
Yeah, that's better than what I'm doing right now. Hey, but one thing, hey, you could lose your life. Okay, I could lose my life here.
But yo, you said that it hit me. There's somebody I was watching. I can't know his name, and it bothers me now. But he said that people always talking about going to heaven or hell, dying or this. He's like, I'm living in hell right now.
Exactly.
What you mean? Like, this is supposed to scare me? Like, this is life.
Exactly.
So was it directly out of high school that you went to the military, or did you have like a little time in between?
I had a little pause, man, about a year where I was like, man, I'm finna dedicate my life to the military. Who knows what can happen while I'm in there? So for about a year, man, all I did was just live my life. When I'm talking about I did everything I could, man.
Well, for sure. You always see these movies like Pearl Harbor, Saving Private Ryan, where the guys would go to the girls like, this might be my last night, you know? Like, hey, and they're not being deployed for 7 months, but every night, it's my last night. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen. So I guess there's a little similar situation, huh?
Yeah, somewhat to that aspect, man, definitely.
Hey. Man, so when you got into boot camp, right?
Yeah.
You had a lot of people from different parts of the country, different backgrounds, different upbringings. We see it all on YouTube. All these drill instructors, all in your ear, talking all this stuff. How is that not really having a male role model in your life, and then now getting male role models in your life really quickly and very loud? How is that transition?
Yeah, it was a huge change for me, man. It took me a minute to be tamed. I would say that because I was still like, smelling myself or whatever you want to call it, and then thinking on the aspects like, man, I'm just here for the paycheck and the ride or whatever.
Sorry about that. No. Sorry, man.
Oh, you good, man. You good.
Go. Take him. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you good, man. You good. I still had that same mentality that I had before I even joined the military. It was supposed to be a part of change, man. Like, you don't join the military you join the military to change your life and your perspective on and view on everything else. The military won't change for you. You have to change for the military.
That's heavy. That's heavy. The military won't change for you, and that's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as a young brother, like for me growing up, I seen white men as like they were cops. They were taking everybody from the neighborhood and this, that, and the other, right? And I had a complete bad interaction with white men for myself. I was molested when I was 4 years old by a white guy, so every white guy was bad for me. And so then for yourself, like you are in the hood at the beginning, and then
Right.
go into the military, and did you see? Everybody says they don't see color, but you know, be realistic. Everybody sees some kind of color. Like, come on now.
Right.
Was that a way that, like, was that different for you, or was it like having these grown men, white guys, black guys, whatever, yelling at you, telling you do this, do this, do this with your bed and your this or that? Was that different, or did you not even care about their race and you're just like, fuck it, we're here?
Nah, man, like, first off, man, hey, I appreciate you sharing that with me, man, with your experience during your childhood, man, one thing. But, no, man, like, in all actuality, I'll be honest with you, man. I had an incident where, in the military, where I had got into an altercation with one of my leaders who was a white male. And it was due to the fact that I felt as though he came at me sideways and was talking out of the side of his neck. This because I had a situation that went on back home, man. My fiance at the time had cheated on me and got pregnant by somebody else. So I had I left. I left, where I was at. I was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Okay.
I left. I'm talking about like I was still on duty type. I left, went AWOL, and went down there and like went to her house and was asking her like, how could you do this to me, pouring my heart out and everything else, man. And I went and talked to my mother, and she was ready to squabble. She was ready to fight. She was like, when I told her about it, because I cried in her lap, man, I was like, Mama, she cheated on me. She got pregnant by somebody else. And then she was like, oh, where my shoes at? I'm finna go beat her up right now. And I was like, no, chill. But anyway, I came back. And when I came back, my squad leader at the time, man, he was like, hey, I heard you had an incident back home. Go on, like next time in the future, just call me. So I'm like, all right, cool, too easy. I would do that. Yeah. So when we got out to formation, my platoon sergeant, who was this white male, you know what I'm saying? He told me, he was like, he started cussing me out, kind of like, what the F you had going on? Ain't nothing bigger than this. You need to call some effing body. So I get at parade rest, put my hands behind my back. And then I turned my head to the side because I was like, man, he's spitting all in my face and everything else. So I'm like, sorry, hey. It ain't gonna be too much, you know what I'm saying? Like, you talking to me like that. Hey, you continue talking to me like that, it's gonna be my hands. And so he like, are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? And I was like, I ain't said nothing. I just let you know what I was thinking. So he was like, oh, that sounds like a threat to me. So then next thing you know, he pushed me. When he pushed me, everything went off. So I wasn't no soldier no more. You getting straight Columbus, Georgia right now. So this is straight hood. So we finna go ahead. Yeah, we finna go ahead and throw hands. So that's exactly what happened. We started fighting, and they separated us. But that's when I felt as though I was like truly racially profiled throughout my time in the Army. And there have been other incidents, man. Like as I started transitioning through the ranks, some people, just due to the fact that I never changed my language as far as like my dialect and how I spoke, they like, oh, he sounded like a cartoon character, or talked about how, I might presented myself in a different manner whenever it came down to social events that we might have with the organization. Like, you supposed to be a leader. You dressing like, you back in the hood, because I had on a white tee and, baggy jeans and a fitted cap. So I was like, hey, I seen Jeezy do it. I thought I could do it.
Man, see, I think like, so what do you say about that? So when you get to a different position, right?
Right.
Do you change for the position, or do you adapt the position? You know what I mean? So like, I'm a leader. This is the way I'm going to do it.
Right.
I'm gonna keep certain things in order for sure. But do you change to the position? Do you make the position change for you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I call it mastering the position. So I adapted, but then I also mastered the position because I never lost who I was A lot of people, they get in certain positions and then they just solely focus on that position itself and never think about like where they came from or what they've been throughout the process of being where they was at. So I consider myself to have mastered the position of where I was in, whether it was, Staff Sergeant Jenkins, Sergeant First Class Jenkins, First Sergeant Jenkins, either way it go. I always kept that mentality of being, I want to say empathy, just due to the fact that I didn't have sympathy for a lot of people because I knew where I came from and I knew I could make it. Then you can make it too. But then I also try to always see at their level just to make sure that I wasn't overstepping certain people's boundaries as far as where they was at.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So did you ever get deployed overseas?
Absolutely. I deployed 5 times, as a matter of fact, 4 times to Iraq, 1 time to Afghanistan.
Golly. What was your job? Like, what did you do like in the military?
So I was a 91. I was a 91 Bravo starting out initially, and that's a mechanic, wheel vehicle mechanic. So I worked on all kind of vehicles from, it's so many to name, man. Like I can go down the laundry list of vehicles that I worked on throughout my time in the military. But so that's what I did throughout the time span, man. But then as I, gradually moved up to through the ranks, I started transitioning from a worker to a manager, and then from a manager into a actual leader of an organization.
Wow. So there's a transition from, going from the street to the military.
Right.
From the military at home to military deployed, and then to come back and then transfer all that knowledge that you learned through your time to the guys and the females below you. How was that?
So I never try to lose sight, man, of any of that stuff, man. I always try to retain the information that I learned, because you can sit here and flip pages all day, and that's awesome. That's great. You can learn from that. But I think the biggest way to learn is experience. You always learn better by going through it, because if you can go through it, man, you can teach somebody else how to go through it in order for them to either perfect it or be able to survive, regardless of whatever situation they might be in. So I never lost sight of whoever I was dealing with, man. And then a lot of the soldiers that I had, man. So one thing about me, man, I've been told on numerous occasions, whenever it came to certain circumstances or situations, that I've been able to command, a room or just go in and step with a certain presence in order to gain people's attention. So it's never been a time where I have people or individuals, man, just say like, I ain't listening to what he's saying. He don't know what he's talking about. It's always been like, hey, he's talking. He directed me on the right scale. I'm gonna keep moving and doing what he say.
Makes sense. So when that happened with your leader and you got throwing little hands there.
Yeah.
I like, for me, I was a bouncer, right? And when I started, I was 18 when I started like running clubs, right? And I had to show people that I'm a light-skinned brother. I'm 18, 180 pounds. Ain't nobody. I have a smile on my face. For the most part, if you're light-skinned, you just for the girls. Like, you're not a big browdy dude.
Right.
So you're not really intimidating to anybody. You feel me? Especially with a smile on your face. Who you gonna scare?
Right.
So I had to let people understand. You know what I mean? Where I stand and who I am. I had to let you understand this. A lot. And now, but once I did that, people understood. So the question is, when you got into it with your leader, did other people around you be like, oh, that guy, he's about it. That guy, he understands. So like, there's a certain level of respect that I'm not gonna fold under whatever situation. There's something like that in the military. It's like, you
it was there already from the start before that altercation even happened, man. Like a lot of the guys that I was with in that organization, man, they've been to the club with me on a couple of occasions. So it was never a moment. It was during the crunk era, you know what I'm saying? Like, so Little John and Pastor Troy and all them guys was out, man. So, it was always a fight in the club. So it was never a weekend that we didn't go to, getting into the altercation. So, I mean, a lot of people already in the organization knew people talk, regardless of whether you hear it or, you do hear it. Yeah, people talk. So, a lot of people already knew. So when they seen that little squabble about to happen, they already was like, oh, man, hey. And then I was heavy in the gym, man. So they were like, man, this dude about to lose his fight, man. He think he gonna respect his rank.
Man, there's something about the dudes in the gym, boy. There's something, like, for me, it's dudes in the gym and dudes that just get out the bin.
Right.
You get a dude that just gets out, you don't talk. You don't even worry about that. That guy, like, him, you see his body moving, you're like, all right, that guy gets a pass, whatever he wants. Because that dude just straight just pushes, just, how y'all doing? Just straight pushing. Like, what are you doing? Right. So, and then the dudes in the gym, because, like, you're doing it for, like, just because you want to. Like,
yeah, it's a stress reliever, man. That's my only opportunity of peace. So, of course, I'm going to go in here and relieve it, man, because if I don't relieve it here, I'm going to take it out on you.
Ain't that the truth? So did you have like would you find it, say you had an anger problem or you were just ready on time?
I think it had to be I think it dealt with a lot of, immaturity, man, for me personally, just to the fact that I wasn't ready to conform to any other, anybody else's control. What I felt like it was their control because, like I said before, I never grew up without that older male figure like that, man. So when it came to the situation of me joining the military, now I got, like you said earlier, these men in front of my face screaming and hollering, telling me to do this, telling me to do that. And I'm looking like, man, like, you don't know who you're really talking to right now, man. Like, I'm looking at you like a man because I'm a man. So we're going to handle this like a man. But in all actuality, man, like, it was just a lack of immaturity on my part, man, because I never took the opportunity to see from their perspective and what they was trying to do in order to influence me to change my lifestyle to become that soldier that they needed me to be.
So do you find there's a lot of the lack of identity? Like when you go into the military, they give you an identity. Like, this is who you are. This is what you do. This is the character that you hold. This is the way you present yourself, and this is everything, right? They break it down. But in the street, right? You just figure that out, right? You just like, nah, I'll, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Here I am. So do you find it more of a lack of identity in the streets?
You said, say that for me one more time. You kind of.
Do you find it a lack of identity in the streets? Like in the military, you get an identity. In the police force, you get an identity. In the fire department, you get an identity. You're told who you are, what you do, how you carry yourself, how you address yourself. In the streets, it's not like that. like no guidelines. It's just like whatever.
No. Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't think you actually had that opportunity to find yourself. I don't think you have, unless you got, somebody in your corner, man, to actually direct you on that path. But to not have that person, or somebody, or put yourself in that surrounding, yeah, you're a lost cause. I mean, I wouldn't say a lost cause, but you're an individual, man, who's like looking for a shepherd right now. You're that sheep, they're looking for that shepherd.
And there's a lot of wolves out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You better get some teeth real soon.
Right.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy that he was in the Gangster Disciples, and he did his thing, and he went in the band, came out, and all this stuff. His name is Mighty Mouse. He runs a organization, UFL Fight League, and stuff like that, right? And he's like, this is just the way it was, like, hey, my daddy's in the bin, my this friend's in the bin, this guy's in the bin. And there's a pull to like kind of, he's like, I heard all these stories that you're working out, you're getting high, you're having fun in there. There's a pull that way. There's a pull. Do you find it the same way that in the military there was a pull to go into the military? Because you said for your family, what served and like that guided you. Does the military like reach into the community at all, or is it more like, hey, you got to find us on your own?
No, you got to find that on your own, man. You know, of course, the recruiters come to the schools or whatnot,
Mm,
but a lot of people ain't listening to that, man. They just think there's some cat in the uniform, man, just coming up there just to try to make numbers.
mm,
But overall, yeah, man, you really have to take that opportunity, man, to just surround yourself, man. For me, it was like I didn't make the grades in school. I was running around, drugs. I told you, gangs, the whole 9 yards, breaking into people's homes, man. So it was like, man, I wanted something better. I wanted something different. I want to, travel the world. I hung around a lot of people, man, who was always like wanted to travel, but never knew what it took in order to travel, man. I was like, I wasn't gonna get that here. If I stayed right here, I wasn't gonna get it.
facts. So when you were now you're in their last time, a couple years, you're like, yeah, I don't want to re-enlist. I'm done. I'm finished. What was the mindset of like how you're getting out? Because again, I was talking to that same guy in the in the prison. He's like, you have to make a plan to
Yeah,
get out of prison. Is it the
right.
same thing to you have to make a plan to get out of the military because you've been on a regime, like on a strict
Absolutely.
a strict diet, if you will, of what you're going to do in the world? Ain't nobody gives a shit. you know?
Right, absolutely, man. Yeah, that is absolutely what you have to do. You have to come up with a plan, man.
Mm,
I really initially did not have a strong plan. I didn't. I say I had a plan, but I didn't use. I didn't come up with a strategy in order to achieve that plan.
mm,
So I
mm.
kind of got knocked off course when it came down to what I initially was planning on doing to prepare me into where I am and what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so you already always had a plan to go and be a speaker and motivate the other people, but you didn't know how to do it. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is I had a plan to be an operations manager at Amazon.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, so initially starting out, I knew I could, run an organization. I knew I could grasp the attention of other people. I knew I could influence people to go in a certain direction in order for them to achieve whatever task that needed to be done. So when I really found myself at that point of transitioning out of the military, the major reason why that happened was I was dealing with 2019 was a hard year for me, right?
Mm,
So my mother, she was dying. And then I was going through personal issues in my marriage with my kids, and then the military. I was on another deployment during that time frame, so I was separated from a lot of these situations that I had going on in my life. So I wasn't able to be home for a lot of these things, man, that I could have possibly resolved while I was there, or could have got the opportunity
wow.
to, embrace. So
I never. Sorry to cut you off there. I never thought of that. Like it seems so like logical. Like you're in the military, you're going to be deployed, you're not going to be around your family. Something goes on, something goes on. You can't deal with it. I never
right,
thought about that. Like shit's actually going to happen, and you was nothing
right,
to do about it.
nothing you could do, nothing at all you could do about it,
What
man.
is that
Like,
mindset? What?
so that's a sunken place, man. Honestly, you seen the movie Get Out, and whenever they did the little spoon, so it was like anytime like adversity hit me, man,
Mm,
boom, it's just like that woman doing the teacup and the spoon, man, and I just get deeper and deeper. It was at one point in time, man, throughout my time span of being deployed, that I ain't go to sleep for 2 days, man. I didn't go to sleep for 2 days because I was dealing with the anxiety of what was going on at home, and then having to deal with the situation of what was going on in my organization. Because at this time frame, I was in charge of 160 plus soldiers.
100.
So not only am I dealing with my personal issues, but then I still got an organization with all these people that I got to make sure are on point in their minds, and then able to complete the mission that goes on. So you can imagine the weight that's on my shoulders during the time of going through all this stuff. So at that point, man, I'm just like a cell phone, man. I'm at 30%. So I was like, man, if anything else happens, I'm gonna be done. So I was like, I need to get out of this, man. I said, I gotta draw the line, man. It was like Shark Tank. You know how they be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I reeled all my key leaders in, and I told them, man. I said, hey, man, like, this is what I got going on. I didn't go in depth as far as my personal life, dealing with my relationship and my kids, but I told them I got circumstances going on back home which prevent me from being where I need to be, for the organization. Yeah. So I really need y'all assistance to continue to, keep the organization going like a well-oiled machine. I said, I'm gonna sit here and coach you. I'm gonna be Bill Belichick, but I need y'all to be Tom Brady. I said, where I'm at right now, I said, I'm not fully capable, and I don't want to be in front of the organization, at the state that I'm in, because this is not a good image, not only for, what I'm saying, like for the organization itself, but the soldiers as well. They don't need to see this because, you can bleed over.
For sure. I want to ask you about that because that, again, like, we talk about like going, being in the hood and having, if you have the mindset to go for it. And like you said, you're using the analogy of a lion that's always trying to get the next meal. Where's my next opportunity? Where's my next this? It is a downfall in the sense of, I got to find my next meal. I got to find my next. But that mindset is being trained. That mindset is being sharpened. That mindset is being honed in of go, go, go. And then now you're saying that when you were in the military, you had these situations at home and your mindset was like all over the place. It was back home. It wasn't really here. But in that moment, it was pretty shitty, I'm imagining, right?
Right.
But did that not offer up a new way of leadership? Because you are in the moment, like, okay, guys, this is what we got to do. Bam, bam, bam. Run this play out. All right, go. I'm the quarterback. But now, when you're like, all right, I'm gonna step back a hot minute. Let you guys lead. Y'all got me. I'm your coach. If you need a little something, I can see something. I can see something from afar. I got you. But you guys are gonna take the reins. Did you find that like changing your leadership style, the way you do things?
Absolutely, man. That was more of an empowering scale. It took a lot of self-mastery. What I call what I like to use is emotional intelligence, because you gotta be able to be aware of yourself when it comes down to your surroundings and who you with. So I used a lot of that, man, when it came to what I was dealing with at that moment in time, man. So it was a greater scale, and it propelled me to a whole nother level, man. It was like an aha moment for me, to be honest with you. If you think about that movie, you seen the movie Remember the Titans, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. So you know that one scene where the two defensive captains are arguing, going back and forth, and then one of them said, like, attitude reflects leadership.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was at, because my attitude, just due to how I was depressed, having anxiety. If I come into the organization, I got 100 and some people, expecting me to be like motivating, coming in and always on point, squared away, doing everything that I have to do. But due to the fact that how I'm feeling right now, I can't do that. So it caused me to be the thermostat and not the thermometer. You know what I'm saying? I had to be the one to not tell the temperature, but I had to be the one to control the temperature. So the only way I could do that was by stepping back and allowing the people that I had under me, that I entrusted, to take the reins, dealing with those circumstances.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And see, I find like it's always in the storm, right? It's
absolutely, man.
We get that real grinding. We really get that grinding where we learn the most and we get the best out of it. I'm reading a book right now. Bishop T.D. Jakes is The Crushing Place, and he's always talking about you get grapes, which you can get for like $1 a pound or something like that, whatever is your price over there. But then if you grind it up and you press it and you put time and pressure and pain onto it, you can now sell that bottle of wine for like $50, $60. The same thing. But it's that process and the fact that you're able to learn from the pain, and in the pain, you're like, all right, I got to go through it, but I got to step back and really learn, take in the information. I think that's powerful.
Absolutely.
So now you getting out the military, you have the plan, not really a functional route to get to that goal, but how did you then get back on course to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get what I want to get and, go get what I want.
So after I came back from that deployment, started working on my marriage, started working on building a relationship with my kids, because you got to think, man, this is roughly about 9 months, man. A lot of things can change within that 9-month time span. And then also my mother, she passed during that time frame of me coming back, so I didn't get to see her. So we went to her funeral, and in the process of going to her funeral, got around a lot of family members, got that opportunity to reconnect with people I haven't dealt with in a long period of time. Mm-hmm. But just coming back, man, I was thinking about the legacy. I was thinking about generational wealth. I started thinking about man, when my mother passed, we were all together. We had a great time. Yeah. But when it came down to what she provided us with, it was how to survive. And I was like, man, I never know when my time might end, and I never want to leave my kids in the predicament of saying well, my dad taught me how to work hard, or he taught me how to be a leader. Yeah. No, I want them to know that, hey, you can do anything that you put your mind to it if you're blessed and fortunate to do it, and you just got to continue to go down that path. So in the process of doing that, I said, man, I wanted to try and figure out a way to spread this message. But I never knew how. So I started during my transition, I started going to behavioral health, because I was diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety. So when I was going and I was talking to her, she was like, hey, you need to start journaling and writing down your thoughts and emotions and everything that you're going through. And I was like, man, men don't journal. I said, that's for women. And then she was like, well, it would be good for you to just journal and write down your thoughts and everything that you're going through. It might be able to get you through what you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So, they had me on all this medication and dealing with all this stuff, man. And I said, hey, I'm going to give it about a week. I said, I'm going to do exactly what you said. I'm going to give it about a week. And so I started writing down everything that I was going through and dealing with. But then I started thinking about it, man. I said, hey, man, I'm not the only person that dealt with these things. Right. I'm not the only person that have experienced what I'm going through right now. I said, I think it would be phenomenal if I'm able to translate this to a point where I can help somebody else go through the storm that they might be experiencing right now. Mm. So when I wrote the stuff down, I gave it to my wife. I let her read it, and she was like, you should do a book. I was like, man, you know where I'm from? We don't do books where I'm from. What I look like writing a book?
You meant write a book?
Yeah. What I look like writing a book? So I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to take her advice on it, and I'm going to go ahead and push forward. And that's what I did, man. So I wrote my first book January. I released it January 2020. And it became a bestseller.
In the midst of the coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, 2020 was my best year. 2020 was my best year. Everything shut down. Everything was going on. You had the Black Lives Matter. You had the COVID pop up. You had all these situations going on in the world, but it was my best year.
Wow.
My best year. Wow. My relationship with my wife was stuntastic. My relationship with my kids was growing. I was able to be there, have that time with them. They loved me, man. They always, greet me in bed. You know what I'm saying? I started, in venturing off into other things that I had was pursuing. It was like, man, it was like phenomenal to me, man. I had totally changed my mindset in order to start thinking about the legacy, the wealth, and everything else in order to prepare me to doing what I'm doing right now. And it all started because of the circumstances that I dealt with during the storm that put me in that direction.
That's so amazing, man. That amongst the storm, in the bullshit, in the worst place possible, you be like, it ain't gonna phase me, what? You know where I'm from? You know where I'm from? This ain't nothing. I got you. Y'all got the disease. We got iron problems. You know what I mean? We got some lead flying through the air. Talking about we got poison in our streets, and you worrying about this little bug? I don't know. It's really amazing, really to sit down and I don't like saying it like this, but with a black man to say, you know what, I've come out of the storm. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't like saying it like that just because it feels to say it's special when it should be the standard.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like that should be
It's,
the standard. That should be what we expect. Like, yeah, you went through something, you get out of it. But unfortunately, in our community, it's sometimes not the standard. You know what I mean? We veer off and let the storm to dictate the way our emotions are, dictate the way things are. And I don't know if you're Christian or not, but in the good book now,
yeah.
there's a little story about a man walking on water. And
Yeah.
when another man looked at the storm, he drowned. He was about to drown. And when he put his
Yeah.
focus back on God, he got out that storm. He got out that problem. So it's
Absolutely, man.
don't look at the storm. Don't pay. Understand it's there. It's there. Most definitely is there. But don't focus on it. Don't let the storm consume you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So now, man, what are you doing now, man? You alluding to the stuff that you're doing now. So what you doing, man?
So at right now, man, I'm a professional speaker.
Yes, sir.
Professional speaker, man. I go around sharing my message when it comes down to just having being resilient, having the right mindset, attitude, and just taking the first action in order to make yourself better. My goal is to help the next generation, become resilient leaders that just triumph in life. So I still write books. I got another one coming out here soon called The Compass.
Did you not say you were high in English class and didn't really pass English class? Where you
Yes.
probably learned writing skills, but now you writing books, man? Come on, man.
Yes, man. So, man, if I tell you my whole story, we'll be on here. We'll have to do another episode, man. I promise you. Just the triumph and be where I'm in right now, man. Is I give all glory to God, man. When it comes down to where I'm at, because once I started, changing my mental attitude and started really diving into the things that I have amongst me right now, man. Hey, scriptures that I keep in my mind, man. Faith without work is dead, and so is a man thinketh, so is he.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
powerful.
So as soon as I always read these scriptures over and over again. So just due to the fact that because he gave us domain over everything, and when it comes down to our mindset and who we are, we already been given the gift in order to be or have whatever we want.
Yes.
But it's due to our mindset that prevents us from getting to that point.
It's so true. I love the scripture. I think it's John 19:30. It said, "It is finished."
Oh yes. I preached that one time, man. I preached on that.
Boy. You tap into those three scriptures, three, game over.
Yeah,
it's over. Like, you change those three. To me and to myself, if you hold on to faith without works is dead. If you understand that, oh my gosh, it is unlimited potential for you, for sure. Just before we wrap it up here, what would say two things? All the storms in your life, all the bullshit that you've dealt with in court. What would you say is the two things you'd be like, hey, if I can give you anything, these are the two things that I can let you have to get you out of that place?
So I can give you three things, man, and it's don't give up. Don't give up. Whatever you're doing, man, don't give up, because you might not see the light at the end of the tunnel, man, but as long as you put one foot in front of the other, man, there's no reason why you can't make it through. And like I tell everybody, man, like you was created on purpose for a purpose. So regardless of how you see it, you was born to stand out. So I always tell people to just be you, man. Believe in yourself, have that confidence, have that faith, educate yourself, man, use the tools and resources, and then always execute, man. Put that action, because nothing happens without action, man.
That's true.
Nothing happens. So faith to me it helps you through belief, but faith will not help you through actions. You have to take that amongst yourself.
Oh, Lord, that one right there is a golly. Say that one more time, man. You got to say that one more time. That one was too much right there.
Yeah, so faith will help you with belief.
Yes.
Totally help you with belief. When it gets you through your hard times or whatever it might be. But as far as that action, faith will not get you through that action. You have to take the steps in order to get yourself to that level that you're looking for.
So true. My golly, gosh, that's I've done, I think it's like 15 episodes now. Every single person says don't give.
Yeah, it's a fact, man.
Like if y'all watching this and you haven't heard that yet, don't give up. Okay, like you can't, because like there's always if you keep going, man, you can do anything.
Anything, man. Like you can do phenomenal things. Whatever you put your mind to, man. The Bible said, write the vision and make it plain, man. I always tell people to use their GPS. Yes. So when I say GPS, man, I'm not talking about TomTom. I'm not talking about a Garmin. I'm talking about having goals, purpose, and a strategy. When you have, when you know your goal, when you understand your purpose, and you have a strategy in order to achieve them, no reason why you can't reach your destination.
Yes. Oh my golly, man! You gotta tell everybody where can they find you? Where's your information at? Where can they buy their books? Where you at, man? Where we can find you?
Oh, absolutely, man. So you can reach me at on Instagram, man, at rising to the top _R2T, and then also you can reach me at my website, which is R2T rise RISE to the top.
Yes, sir.
And .org. And then also when it comes to my books, I have one called A Quick Cure to Successful Leadership that talks about 7 qualities that all leaders should have. And then I have another one called Resiliency, Winning the Battle Within, which teaches you the skills and techniques in order to be resilient and bounce back from adversity in anything that you do. And it's out on Amazon.
It's all on Amazon?
It's all on Amazon.
Beautiful. Now I gotta ask you, what gave you the audacity to think that you could write a book failing English class? What? Like, I'm gonna write a book. Yep. I failed English, but I'm gonna write a book. Where would that go in your mind before we leave? I know I said before we leave so many times, but I got to know that one.
So I mean, it was like I said before, man. Like just taking that action, man. Like you never know, man. Like regardless of what you do, like a lot of people, they don't move forward because of fear. Fear prevents them from ever getting to the point that they want to. But it's only, up here that prevents you from getting there. It's not, right here in your heart, because, saying God put it in you to be, serve your purpose, to serve this purpose. Like I said before, you created on purpose for a purpose. You never know what that purpose might be. But then at the same time, whenever you hear that voice that says, hey, keep going, keep moving forward, regardless of what anybody thinks, hey, man, you need to take action. You need to make it happen. So I just took it upon myself. Once I heard my wife say, hey, you need to put this in a book. Initially, I was like, man, you know where I'm from, man. We ain't even gonna go there. I tell her my background, and then she was like, nah, you need to share this with the world. So I was like, all right, what I got to lose?
Thanks.
What I got to lose? You don't have nothing to lose. That's the only thing that prevents people. Their own train of thought prevents them from going to that next level. It's not nobody else. The biggest person stopping you from being successful and doing anything that you want to do in life is you. My
gosh. Man, I got like 2 interviews left to go today, and I don't want to stop this. I want to text you like, hey, I gotta just hold on for y'all interview, okay? Like, I want to keep going, man. I want to keep going. Golly, man, brother. Powerful, man. Thank you so much for this opportunity to help share your story, and hopefully more people buy your books and just connect more with you. And one last thing before we leave, man, if you would say your name and then say, I am a victor.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Sylvester Jenkins, and I am a victor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No worries, brother. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I greatly appreciate you allowing me this opportunity to be on your platform, man, and especially, enjoy this dialogue that we had together.
Beautiful, man. Thank you again, man. We'll talk soon, huh?
All right, take care.
All right.